Welcome back to my film and TV channel. Hope you're all staying safe and well. We've got a third season of a biographical crime drama series, anthology series, yes, at that, that we're looking at today, that split opinions. This one's called Monster, which is the series that we're looking at. This is the third season, and this is the Ed Gein story. So it's all about Ed Gein, who's probably one of the lesser known of the so-called serial killers. There's some doubt as to what he did do and what he didn't do most of the time. This was created by Ian Brennan for Netflix, of course. And we've got 8 episodes that began airing on Netflix on October the 3rd, 2025. Lucy Mangan from The Guardian, who I have a lot of respect for Lucy, although a couple of reviews recently I've not quite agreed with her, said it's nothing but a voyeuristic pandering to the basest instincts of viewers. Yeah, Lucy has plenty that agree with her, but I'm one of those voyeuristic viewers, I think, according to Lucy, but we'll talk about it. Please, before we do look at this, if you do smash that like button, guys, if you can hit the like button, subscribe, if not already done so. If you enjoy the content, that'll be wonderful, please. Any hype points you can give me on YouTube be much appreciated. Helps all the channel's logarithms or algorithms, is it? Not logarithms, I'll get the old book out. Algorithms and stuff like that, a bit complicated to me, but I know it helps if you can give us any hype points, so that'd be much appreciated. So anyway, let's have a look at this. I'll chat a bit more about other ways you might be able to help the channel and ways of contacting me later on. This season focuses on convicted murderer, grave robber and suspected serial killer Ed Gein, played by Charlie Hunnam. Yes, he does a good job, Charlie. The cast also includes Susanna Son, Vicky Creeps, Laura Metcalf and Tom Hollander, some familiar faces in this. And this is the Wikipedia quote. The season incorporates meta-commentary on the cultural obsession with true crime, exploring Gein's influence on Hollywood and pop culture. There you go. So it's not just a TV series, we're talking in-depth stuff here, aren't we? And as I said, it's the third instalment, the other two being, of course, Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, that were both very, very good. And a fourth season based upon murder suspect Lizzie Borden. Is that the one with the axe? There's a song about Lizzie Borden, isn't there? Is currently in production. Right, my little thoughts on this. Of course, there's a lot of controversy when we talk about this culture. We've got links to Ilse Koch from, of course, World War II, Holocaust, Germany, Nazi Germany. Tobe Hooper's in this, Anthony Perkins, Alfred Hitchcock. There's all sorts of links to other things. And I think, to be honest with you, although I did sort of enjoy these sort of links. It was always at its best when the character Ed Gein was on screen and he's taking the spotlight. So you got to ask questions as to the validity of putting all these extra little subplots and these cultural obsessions with true crime things. Of course, Gein's influence is debatable to all these sort of things, of course, film culture, etc. Pop culture even. So you can sort of either agree or disagree. It has an ending that's very, very kind to Ed Gein. I would say the last episode, it does drag at times, and certainly that last episode does, but it's a bit sort of nice and warm, which shouldn't really be for this sort of guy, this sort of person. But it's a long time ago, of course it is. But it's trying to be different. It's trying to affect people. It certainly has. I think it has affected people. It's made people sit up and take notice. Some angry, some not so angry. Some like myself who sort of forgive some of the problems in it, forgive some of the sort of judgments that were made and the comparisons that were made, and I just sort of liked it as a whole anyway. And I didn't get too bogged down in the links. Certainly there's links between Perkins' sexuality and Gein's sexuality, obviously pushing the links a little bit. And of course, I think the story of Gein itself is interesting enough. I think we get 8 episodes. I think if you did a 4 or 5 episode Ed Gein special, forgot all these other superfluous things, the Alfred Hitchcock stuff and the Tobe Hooper, etc., Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, all this sort of connections, I think it would have still been a good series. But for me, it wouldn't possibly been better. I would have liked it anyway, either way they did it. And the whole thing sort of works for me with all these little connections as well. What didn't work for me, though, was a couple of the mixed-up timelines as characters suddenly reappeared after being killed. Of course, we're talking Ed Gein's imagination here, so sometimes you can't always believe what you see on screen anyway has actually happened in real life. So it did get a bit confusing for my poor old brain, but there wasn't too much of it, so overall it didn't affect the flow of the story too much. I think reviews are generally poor, but apart from one or two distractions, I thought this series was done really well. I thought they tried to be a bit clever, perhaps too clever, but I'm pretty much in a big minority on this one. I did mention Charlie Hunnam being Eddie is excellent, and so of course a lot of people didn't even like that role. James Jackson from the Times said, "A dive into psychosexual murk, almost drowning in its own ambitions of depravities." Judy Berman from the Times said, "It's a show that hates itself." Matthew Creep of The Rap said, "Monster, the Ed Gein story, strives to tell this monster story, but fails to deliver 8 episodes worthy of a binge watch. Fantastic performances are diluted with exaggerated B stories that go nowhere at a slow pace." I think Matthew's got a point. I did touch upon the pace of it, but despite the change in pace, I was always pretty much engaged in this. I was quite interested to see what was going on the screen, on the small screen. Joel Keller from Decider was a rare supporter, like me, of the series. He said, "It does an effective job of introducing the audience to a serial killer that many people may not know about, but one that has a ton of influence on horror films from Psycho to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre." Yeah, so it makes you think of that. It's something I wouldn't have thought of personally, but of course those links are made. It's not perfect. It tries to be far too clever, as I said at times. It doesn't always work, don't get me wrong, but it is chilling, it's voyeuristic, it's unsettling at times, and at times pushes the boundaries perhaps a little bit too far, which has affected a lot of people, of course. But I thought it was well crafted, well acted, and quite thought-provoking, whether you agree with what's been done on screen or not. I just enjoyed it. I just thought it was very, very enjoyable, as I say, but I am in a minority. Look at some of the scores. Rotten Tomatoes, it's literally got a 19% approval rating. So 31 critics, 6 were fresh, so I'll make that 7, but 25 were rotten, so it's not very well liked on Rotten Tomatoes. Metacritic, again, only a score of 28 out of 100. Okay, only 13 users, so not a big range of critics. Rotten Tomato users sort of liked it, 3.1 out of 5. And Internet Movie Database, there's no specific score because it looks at the whole series, all 3 series. But for this, it's getting between 6.4 and 7.3 out of 10 per episode, and usually the episode scores are reasonably higher anyway. So it's getting between a 5.5 and 6 if you take the averages, which isn't great, but is okay. For me personally, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it, I must admit. I'm sorry, Lucy, I didn't agree with you on this. There's going to be another review I'm doing quite shortly, a totally different thing, but where we differ yet again. But on this one, yeah, I liked it. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Anyway, let me know what you think, guys. As I say, it'd be great to have your opinions. If you want to contact me, please do so. And of course, if you do want to help the channel, press those buttons or just keep watching and listening to find out other ways. If you enjoy the content, you can help me out.